Today we look at part B, using historical data to improve instruction. In our previous sessions, we looked at preparing and inquiring about the data that we collect from our students. Today, however, we are going to look at part 3, acting on the data that we collect from our students. Here are the objectives for today's session. We will learn to develop an action plan to use historical data, create a departmental plan to assess students' progress, and objective 3, we will plan to implement and evaluate our data plan. In part 1, we will look at creating an action plan. Here are the steps that we need to follow in order to create that plan. First, having identified the problem, we now need to determine how we are going to solve that problem, whatever subject it is. How am I going to solve that problem? And so you must decide on an instructional strategy. What strategy do you think is best suited for addressing the problem that you noticed? Next, you need to agree on what your plan will look like in the classrooms. Then, you must put the plan in writing. And finally, you need to decide how you know if the plan is working. So you have identified a problem that exists school-wide, and you want to resolve that problem. You want to find a solution to solve that problem. And so as a department, you sit together and you are deciding on what strategy is best in addressing that problem. The first thing you want to do is to brainstorm for instructional strategies. What strategies can best address that problem? And so after you have discussed every strategy, you've heard from every member of your department, you now need to decide which strategy is going to work best. And that calls for great collaboration among members. It's not a one-person thing. Everybody must be involved in the process. So there is a learner-centered problem. Take, for example, students have difficulties solving multi-step problems. So that's a learner-centered problem that needs addressing. There is a priority question. Why do students experience difficulties in solving multi-step problems? So we are doing a think aloud as staff members. I do not know why they're just having challenges solving that problem. What is the reason why they're having these difficulties? So that's your priority question. And then, what is the problem of practice? Is it entirely on the student, or is it because of the instruction that we are producing? So that would be a problem of practice. Maybe you're not giving sufficient practice. Maybe you're not modeling sufficiently to the students. Maybe you do not have anchor charts posted in your classroom displaying how to solve the problem that students can use as a frame of reference. So that would be a problem of practice, because we must evaluate our instruction to determine if we are doing everything right. And if all our students are still struggling, then it means we need to review what we are doing. And so that's how we would best determine which instructional strategy is better suited to address that problem. Now, once you have determined which instructional strategy you are going to use as a department, you need to create a plan. And so you need indicators that will say that the plan is being utilized. So what is your plan going to look like? Who are the stakeholders in implementing that plan? Who's going to be involved? So teachers, students, the classroom space, the students' work. And you want to outline certain criteria that you will use to evaluate how the plan is going to work and what it will look like when it is implemented. So, for instance, teachers will model the strategy to the students. Students, for instance, will be able to describe Polya's four steps, of problem solving. In the classroom, you will display anchor charts depicting the 4 steps to the problem solving strategy. Students' work will demonstrate their use of the strategy in solving problems. And so you know when you go into classrooms that these are the things that you are looking for, and you can say, yes, we are using that strategy, and you are looking for the progress in students. So you must outline what the plan is going to look like. And if you're going to focus on something in English or any other subject, you have your strategy and you outline what the plan is going to look like. So all of the persons involved, you are going to outline them and what the expectation is of each person or each place. For instance, the classroom, what will the classroom look like? What will teachers do? What will students do? What will students' work look like? Because you want to see application of the strategy that you have identified in your students, in the classrooms, and among staff. So your next step is putting your plan in writing. You want a clearly detailed, a clearly outlined plan. And in developing that action plan, you are going to consider factors such as who, what, when, and how. And here is a sample of what a plan looks like. So you want to have the learner-centered problem. What is the problem that I'm trying to remediate? You have that written at the top of your plan. Then you want to look at the problem of practice, and you write a description based on the discussion in your department. You are going to operationally define the problem of practice. This is the issue we think teachers are having with that concept. And once you've done that, you are going to describe your instructional strategy. What instructional strategy am I going to use? Now, having these 3 things at the top of your plan helps you to remain focused on what you are trying to remediate. Next, you are going to identify the different tasks that different people will be responsible of, and by what time you expect these tasks to be implemented or completed. And that will be your plan. Once that is done, it means you are ready to move towards remediating that problem that the students are having. Now you have done all of this work. The next question is, how will I know that this plan is working? How am I going to know? And so, what do? You collect evidence and you use that evidence. But you may ask, where is the evidence? What evidence will I collect? How often will I collect that evidence? So these questions already tell you that the evidence that you are going to be collecting will be student work samples. And as you are assessing students and you are grading their work, you are looking for application of the strategy that you are introducing them to in their work, that they are demonstrating proficiency or becoming proficient in the use of the strategy as it is applicable to the assessments that you are giving them. So you want to collect that data. You want to ensure, as a instructional leader or the head of department, that when you go into classrooms, you see that strategy at work. You see evidence of it posted in the classrooms. You see evidence of it at use in students' notebooks. Students are able to describe to you what that strategy is. And all of these are ways in which you can collect evidence. You can do that through observations. You can do that through student grades. So you collect evidence in various ways to ensure that when you sit within your department to evaluate, that you can see, when I went to such and such a class, or I spoke to so and so on the compound, they were able to explain to me what this strategy is, or this teacher was able to present her data and show how well students are using that strategy. So you collect evidence in different ways, and that is how you are going to know if your plan is working or not. You will also see improvement in students' grades. And so you collect these data, and when you sit in your department to evaluate and to review, then you are going to say, yes, the plan is working. No, the plan is not working. But you can only make these statements based on the evidence that you have collected and your use of the evidence to form conclusions. Now, as we wrap up this module, or part one of this module, you may have noticed by now that collaboration is critical in designing a plan. There must be collaboration. It's not just the instructional leader. Every team member must be active in the development of that plan. So there must be teamwork. And if you are going to be successful, you must be very open, have those candid conversations or fierce conversations to bring out your perspective on the issue. So that when a plan is developed, you are not going to say, oh, I wasn't part of it. But you are going to be actively involved because, one, you desire to improve your practice as a teacher, and secondly, you want to see your students successful. And in order to achieve these goals, there must be collaboration. We must work together in order to achieve these goals. And so you want to consider these factors. First, as I said, there must be a shared commitment to action, assessment, and adjustment. Are we going to create a short-term plan or a long-term plan? Which one do you think is best for your department? Do you want to start off with something small or short-term, and then we move on to something that's longer? We may want to start off with something for the term, see how it goes, review it, and then say, okay, we can now create something for the rest of the year. You must have a learner problem that is clearly defined, so everybody must understand what the problem is. And whatever instructional strategy you select, it must be one which will be able to address the problem, lessen it, or eliminate the problem. Are you changing your what, or are you changing your how? What needs changing? Is it what you are teaching, or is it how you are teaching? Because maybe what you are teaching is fine, but the strategy you are using is not working for the population of students that you have. Maybe it worked last year, but this year it is not working because you have a different group of students, and so they need something different, a different strategy in order to learn the content. So maybe your content is fine, but your instructional strategy is not working, and so sometimes we maybe need to change what, other times we need to change our how. Also, as I said before, there must be collaboration, and it must be intentional. It's not a haphazard thing. We are in this together. And so in order for it to work, I must take responsibility. I must accept responsibility for what we are trying to develop. If we don't take responsibility for it, then it means a few people will be carrying the burden, and others, well, that's their thing. But that's not the approach that we want. We want everyone to buy in to it. And we also need to be accountable. If you're accountable, to your instructional leader or to your school principal, or even to the person that you co-teach with. Maybe there are two of you teaching a year level. And if you are accountable to each other, then it means I will do what I'm expected to do, and I will do a little bit more because somebody is dependent on me. Somebody's success is dependent on me. Somebody's professional growth is dependent on me. And so I will do everything possible to ensure that both myself and that other person or my students are successful. So intentional collaboration, working together. And finally, a focus on evidence. As we said before, use the evidence. If we are trying to remediate a problem and we are just speaking from our minds without using data, then we are already failing ourselves. So let's collect data, let's use data, and let's ensure that when we speak with our data supporting us. All right. So now that we have gone through that plan, here's what we are going to do, or rather, you are going to do when you meet in your subject departments during your common planning time. In your departmental teams, I want you to design a plan to use the student data to assess progress and that of your students. So you are going to follow the steps that are outlined in the manual that you will be presented with by your instructional leader. And in developing that plan, you can always reference the session that we just went through, part 1, to help you formulate that plan. You can look at the samples that have been posted, or you can create your own and develop a plan. So identify a problem, then determine which instructional strategy you are going to use, and you begin working from there. Remember, you must be able to say what the plan is going to look like. So once you have your strategy, what is the plan going to look like for teachers, for students, in classrooms? What is it going to look like? You must have a criteria. You implement your plan, so you create an action plan, and then you decide, is that plan working? And again, we said we can determine if that plan is working through the collection of data. So I hope that you are a bit clearer in terms of how we can assess our students and become better teachers through the use of data. We will continue with part 2 in another session. Thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate your time, and I trust that you feel empowered as educators to use data and to use it more effectively. Thank you.